It took Ford 50 years to officially bring the Mustang to the UK with the steering wheel on Her Majesty's correct side of the car. And now we're supposed to believe that a Mustang can be an electric, battery-powered family crossover. Yeehaw, partners. On Top Gear Tested today, the Ford Mustang Mach-E. What is it? It's an electric SUV that's riffing off Ford's rich pony car heritage to give their rival to the Volkswagen ID.4 and Tesla Model Y a bit of a land of the free USP.
And they're hoping that'll distract you from the fact that for a Ford, it's not cheap. The basic one is £41,000, and this all-wheel drive big battery Mach-E is nearly 60,000 quid. What does it look like?
Oh, it so dearly wants to look like a Mustang, doesn't it? So it's got these Mustang-ish triple lamp taillights, a nod to a Mustang grille shape at the front, and look, they've even painted a load of the roof black to make the Mach-E look more coupe-ish than it actually is.
It sure doesn't look like any of Ford's regular SUVs, like the Cougar or the Puma. And it is weird that you've got this all-new EV on a new platform, and then it's got an old-school super-long bonnet to give it muscle car stance. I'm surprised it doesn't have side exit exhausts and a supercharger sprouting from the hood. Where's the charging port?
The charging port, just here behind the front wheel, like on a Porsche Taycan, instead of the more usual spot at the back of the car. Now, if I just plug this into a 150 kilowatt rapid charger, then I'd go from 0 to 80% charge in 45 minutes, but on the home wall box, more like an overnight job of 12 hours.
How big's the battery?
Excuse me while I get a bit tangled up in range numbers. See, the standard Mach-E has a 68 kilowatt hour battery, good for 273 miles with rear drive or 248 with all-wheel drive. If you spend an extra 9,000 quid on the extended range battery, 88 kilowatt hours of it, then you get 379 miles of range or 335 for this car here with all-wheel drive. That's right up there with the Tesla Model Y.
Is it practical?
Let's begin at the nose because things start average and then get better. So you do get a frunk or a fruit if you prefer a front boot to a front trunk, but it's only 100 litres and you might expect a bit more storage than that given the sheer size of this bonnet. Still, it is somewhere useful to keep your cable.
The cabin though, that's really spacious because the roofline isn't as steep as it first appears.
Great, so there's space for the family back here, but not a huge amount for them to get excited about. It's really dark and too many of these leathers and the trim just feel synthetic. That's fine in your Vegas Mustang holiday hire car, but not really good enough in a premium flagship SUV that's costing over 57,000 quid.
What's the gimmick?
You might have noticed the Mach-E doesn't appear to have traditional door handles. Instead, you get this electronic button and then a little winglets for pulling the door open. I'm sure that really helps cut drag on a huge flat-fronted SUV. The rear doors though, no winglet. You still get your button, but instead there's a hidden rubber handle in the door here. And I'm not sure it's Ford's smartest idea ever to teach children, who normally sit in the back seats, that when they want to open the door, they should put their fingers in the gap between a big, heavy metal panel.
Will I get along with the tech?
If you like massive touchscreens, you're in for a treat inside the Mach-E, but if you're a Mustang traditionalist, then probably look away now, because everything lives in this 15.5-inch whopper of a touchscreen. The only physical control here is this horribly cheap and nasty volume knob. Otherwise, the sub-menus for your settings, media, the nav, and the slightly strangely named driving modes are all in the touchscreen.
As touchscreens go, it's not as slick or as fast as the Tesla one it's obviously wishing it was. And I really wish it was angled a little towards the driver. With a screen this size, it's hard to reach some of it when you're a bit preoccupied steering 2 tons of Mustang along.
However, not everything about the Mach-E's interior is totally Tesla touchscreen centric. I mean, look, behind the steering wheel, I've got a speed readout exactly where it should be. The steering wheel itself is round and has useful buttons on it. And down here, the drive selector is just the same as you'd find in any other Ford, except a normal Mustang, weirdly.
What does it weigh?
Mustangs are traditionally fast cars, loud cars, scary cars to stand near when they're leaving Cars and Coffee, but not light cars. So what's the damage when you fill one full of batteries? Now, a Mach-E with the extended range battery and all-wheel drive should be 2.1 tonnes, but this one is 2.2 tonnes, and that's supersized even by American standards.
How fast is it?
Well, to find out, I shall bravely drive in a straight line as fast as possible. I mean, we all know how hard that can be for a Mustang driver. This extended range dual motor Mach-E has got 346 horsepower, so we're expecting 0 to 60 in 5.8 seconds, and the top speed should be 112 miles an hour. All I'll do is pop my Mach-E into drive. I've got green lights on my GPS, so that's ready, and select Untamed mode. Yeah, Untamed. I really feel like a cowboy. Do I feel lucky, punk? Right, 3, 2, 1, go. Come on, giddy up, Mustang. Actually, what am I doing? I should take this seriously. It's the Mustang going as quickly as possible. Who knows what could happen? That's 85 miles an hour. Quite a loud synthetic noise we've got, but more like a V6 than a V8. That's interesting. Past 112, onto 116, 117 miles an hour. Back down to 116. I think that's all it's got. Yep, let's hit the brakes. Whoa, that's quite lively. Bit of ABS intrusion. Now it's moving around a bit. Blimey.
The Ford Mustang Mach-E took 5.7 seconds exactly to go from 0 to 60 miles per hour, while 0 to 100 miles per hour took 14.3 seconds. The Mach-E needed 14.28 seconds to cover the quarter mile with a max speed of 99.4 miles per hour.
So we didn't quite crack triple figures during the quarter mile, but I don't know, if you want to go to a drag strip, maybe wait for the Mach-E GT, that's coming very soon, or maybe one day there'll be a Mach-E Shelby. I wonder what the Mustang faithful would think of that.
Is it comfy?
Well, not brilliant really. The low speed ride in particular is really jiggly. It's like the Mach-E can't decide what to filter out, so it just goes, oh, okay, I'm going to tell you about every single bump. It does improve as you go a bit quicker, but it's still not the car's strong suit. I think a more composed ride would really go a long way to justifying that over £50,000 price tag. Out here on the pave, well, not brilliant. I mean, it feels like the squishy tyre sidewall, if anything, is doing more to smooth out the bumps than the actual suspension.
What's it like on a motorway?
This is an assured, solid cruiser. It feels at home on an interstate. Sorry, motorway.
The seat's quite flat, so I'm not sure how numb your backside will be after a few hours in the saddle.
Doing 75 miles per hour and the ride has at last settled down. There's not too much wind noise, though there really shouldn't be because the door mirrors really are preposterously tiny in comparison with the rest of the body. The proportions are really off there, kind of like Shrek's ears. Right, let's say we head up into the top lane. Okay, here we are at VMAX, 117 miles an hour indicated, and I'm really impressed. The big Stang seems right at home here, beautifully stable. But then, I shouldn't be that shocked really, because all I'm asking it to do is go really fast and turn left. And Americans have invented an entire motorsport around that.
What's it like in a corner?
Well, in a shock to pretty much no one, feels quite big, the Mach-E, and a little bit cumbersome. Feels a lot more like an American market Ford, really, than a European one, even though it's being sold over here with the steering wheel on the correct side. It's more flex than focus, if you know your Fords.
What about if you're late for something?
Oh, the Mach-E extended range dual motor, it is fast. This is a fast car. For a crossover, in a Tesla, the Easter egg is that the car has games or flatulent noises built in. In a Mach-E, the Easter egg is that in unbridled mode, put your foot down and it sends loads of power to the back. It feels like something the engineers have left in there to go, you know what, we can still make this thing behave like a Mustang, but you're going to have to be quite senior in order to go and provoke it. But there you are, I've done it on your behalf. Really, you're never going to drive like this on the road. It'll even do some good old-fashioned American car chase tyre squeal.
What range should I expect in the real world?
Well, remember the claim for this extended range dual motor all-wheel drive Mach-E is 335 miles in Europe. And when we fully charged this to 100% this morning, it said 284 miles. And that feels about right. It's going to be 270, 280 miles on, well, a mild autumn day. And if you're reasonably careful with the throttle pedal, if you precondition the cabin, you should get 270 miles in the real world. Now that's knocking on the door of what Tesla will give you in the Model Y for similar money and similar cabin space. Only thing is, they have got the superchargers.
What's the verdict?
Well, I guess first off, we should park the Mustang thing, because overall, the Mach-E really doesn't share any DNA with a classic pony car or Steve McQueen's Bullet company wheels in the same way that, like a Mini Countryman, for example, doesn't have anything in common with the red, white and blue cars that helped Michael Caine steal a load of gold in the Italian Job.
It's been given the Mustang treatment because, well, marketing. But that gives Ford an angle that you could argue Tesla and the rivals just don't have. Some heritage, some character, and that's been spread thinly over the surface of what's really a decent family car.
What I do think is interesting about choosing to call this and brand it so obviously as a Mustang is that for Europeans, well, we kind of think of the Mustang as a bit unsophisticated, a bit agricultural, and that's an odd image to paint all over your new state-of-the-art electric car. And that means that then when you get in and some of the cabin materials feel a bit low rent and it even smells a little bit cheap, you start to wonder, are the alarm bells going off on that 40, 50, maybe £60,000 price tag? Overall though, I find myself liking this car and it has got excellent real world range. Ford was being left behind in the electric car race for a long time, and now, like everyone, it says it's all in on electric. So the Mach-E, well, it's not only a good first effort, but it could very well turn out to be one of the most important Fords since the Model T.